Oh, they're hurting me a little. Okay, there we go. But so, all of the, like, really high-end classes generally would just teach information. They never really taught comprehension, and it was very rare that you'd actually learn the full story behind anything. It wasn't until I got stuck in the, like, lower classes, because, you know, I wasn't enjoying my, like, AP Honors US History class. Or I guess it was World History. It was World History 1. But I wasn't enjoying it, so I wasn't doing very well. You know, the teacher would expect, like, great things of us, and I was just like, I don't even like your class to begin with. I really can't bring myself to work for 6 hours a night on whatever crazy history project you want us to do. I think it was National History Day. We had to, like, make these ridiculous projects for them that, like, were not worth the time invested. We had somebody win it my year and the year before, I think it was. Like, some people went all out. I had no interest, and I had no motivation, so I just kind of phoned it in. Obviously, my grade never really improved as part of it, but so I never flunked. I was a C student in his class, but that was enough for him to say, like, nope, you are not in honors anymore. Go down to the C1 class, which is, like, tier below it. But, like, the difference between honors and C1 was, like, night and day. I struggled to get a C in honors. C1, I struggled to get less than an A. Like, I could sleep in class and still do fine. I had people cheating off of me. To the point where I started writing wrong answers in my tests. And for the essay, when they started trying to cheat on me, I wrote a short story about them. And the teacher understood, because, well, I mean, it was pretty obvious after my first essay started with, the day Trevor tried to cheat off of Wander's test. For starters, Trevor thought it was hilarious and kept cheating off of me. The teacher thought it was hilarious because she gave Trevor an F and gave me an A, and understood why my history essays always started with insane bullshit, and then devolved down into something else. But so yeah, they eventually just dumped me down into the lower tier class, which was really nice for me, because I could pretty much draw in class and kind of like sit and enjoy, because I didn't need to take notes. It was much more about like the why than the what's, and so I could finally actually do what I wanted. And it was actually more fun that way. I really like this song. But so, I think I lost it. Yeah, it's gone. Well, that's fine. But so, you know, then I went back up to, honors. I went back up to AP for at least a little bit. I did AP Psychology. And it was interesting, the difference, because my AP Psychology teacher didn't teach from the book, because there might have been an AP Psychology class, test, but my teacher was like, I think AP tests are stupid, so I'm just going to teach what I think is actually interesting. I like that teacher. He was a good teacher. He was really awkward. Wow, seriously, 10 Radiant Relics, and we never saw it once. That's nuts. My whole life, I've never had to take notes. Either you're lucky or you're lazy. Because there are definitely times where you probably should take notes. Or your teacher's just only taught from the book. Oh, nope, I got one more. I might actually have another one that I could, like, upgrade. But I have to work... I'd have to work on that. I don't know, I'm lazy. I might just take up, I might just take up Matariel's offer, get the Spear Prime Pouch, and not have to worry about it. But then again, this is good ducat farming, unless we want to try and find like an exterminator capture that we could zip through real quick. That might be better. Who knows? Let's see, really? They locked the doors on us again. Why would they do that? It's a survival mission. AP Psychology is the only AP I liked in school. Yeah, it's because psychology is kind of interesting. I don't know if I'd ever actually... for a little bit, at least, I actually had been interested in potentially going into psychology instead of art. Clearly, I sucked at both because I'm an internet hermit now. But the psychology class was fun because he would just tell stories. You know, he would tell stories about... have you ever heard of, is it called... It's like diffusion of responsibility. There's a different proper title for it and stuff. Diffusion of responsibility is when you have a group of people, all witness a disaster and none of them do anything. It's how a person can get murdered in broad daylight or beaten or whatever. And very, very often, there will be a story of, like, well, what were all the bystanders doing? And the answer is nothing. And, you know, there's always kind of the question of why. And it's because basic human psychology says somebody else will take care of it. I don't need to. And, you know, we're kind of... I don't know if it's modern or if this is just, like, an always thing. But we automatically will try and avoid confrontation, conflict... just whatever, and so, you know, you will see tragedies that effectively happen in broad daylight, and nobody will call 911, nobody will call ambulance, nobody will even, like, come and help the victim. They'll just kind of stand there stupidly. And so, my teacher would effectively tell anecdotal stories about each and every one of these and kind of explain how and why and whatever. And I thought that was the most compelling class I had ever been in, which is why I actually really liked my ethics concentration in college, because my teacher did the exact same thing, and so it was really enjoyable, effectively having a teacher just sit around and tell stories, and then you'd have to, like, analyze stuff after that. People tend to record it too. Oh yeah, that's even worse. Somebody with a camera phone pointed right at the problem, and nobody's calling 911. Period. Ugh, hate that. I think my first experience with diffusion of responsibility, and this was absolutely, like, my bad. Like, I was not one of the helping people here. But when I was in middle school, I think I was in 8th grade. We were going to a local mall, and we were walking, you know, towards the mall, like the entrance or something, and my parents stopped. They spotted something, I guess, one or two, like, car rows over, and they kind of rush over, and there's an old man who is, like, bleeding from his face, because, you know, he was in his 80s probably, or late 70s, hard to tell. So, you know, some people can be 80 and look 60, and some people can be 50 and look 90. One of my aunts has always looked kind of ghoulish, comparatively. But so the old man was, you know, bleeding from his face, and, you know, was very clearly, like, out of sorts. And straight up, like, as we were walking over to him, we saw a couple, effectively, walk past him, look down on it at him, and, like, there was definitely kind of the, like, nervous, like, we didn't actually see him, kind of look away and, like, quick step faster. I was just like, oh, that's bad. But I have to admit, I wasn't much better, because we were hanging out next to the guy and he was bleeding from his face, and I was actually feeling quite queasy. I don't mind blood as much anymore, but especially, like, then, the sight of, like, human blood was just like, ooh, ugh. Yeah, not a goddamn relic. Alright, whatever, it's not that big of a deal. Okay. Yeah, I do have another, but I can't upgrade this one, and I don't want to play without it. I guess we might as well do this one, because I've upgraded it, and we'll do it. This will be the last round. Unless you guys want to play without a relic on this one. Oh, right. Should probably grab that. There we go. One of the things they teach you in Boy Scouts is to always designate a single person, call 911 when dealing with emergencies. Yup. That was... At the time, I always thought that was common sense, but it's way more than common sense. That is absolutely, like, necessary. When they taught me that in Boy Scouts, I was just like, yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I think over the years, I've underestimated just how much of like an important thing that is. What was it recently? Oh, had a friend break his leg in college. And when he did, as per human nature, as per usual, everybody just kind of stood around there, just staring at it dumbfoundedly, as he's like kind of on the ground moaning. And it took me a bit. I was like looking at it, and I'm like, okay, you know, I'm moving to help this guy up, and I realize I'm the only person moving, and I'm like, oh, okay. No, I gotta helping this guy, you know, get out of the situation that broke his leg. Effectively, he was stuck in the mud. It's like, oh, okay, that's a little bit, you know, more. That's a little bit more of like a. You know, I can't just help this guy out. We need to get him out of here, and we can't do that. So I had to be like, yo, you call 911. And the interesting part was, the first person that I told to call 911 looked at me and shrugged. And I think it's actually, the trick is if you have multiple people, tell one of them to call 911. But don't make sure they do it. I don't think they impressed upon us that well back in Boy Scouts. I think part of it is cell phones have made us even more likely to just kind of assume somebody else will do it. Because telling somebody to go call 911, nobody goes to call 911 anymore. You don't need to run for a house phone. So when you see somebody run off to go call 911, you know, you say, okay, somebody's actually doing that. But with cell phones, you know, everybody could call 911, which means almost nobody's going to do it. Which is very strange and very stupid. What was the other situation? This isn't one of the ones that I've ever been, like, privy for. But I was reading I like to read stories on Reddit. People are more interesting than I am. I've got some interesting stories, but there's some really crazy stories out there. But so one of them was a person that, I don't even remember the situation they were in. I don't remember the whys or whatever. But effectively, somebody had gotten injured. Possibly like a car accident or something. But so they had, you know, a group of people stop, and they told one of them, you know, go get help. They might have had to, like, drive somewhere, they might have had to get something, I don't really remember. But effectively, it was like a legal advice question of, like, being sued because they had just left. And I guess the story was, somebody was suing somebody over this, but effectively, the one person that was supposed to get help had just decided to go drive home and stopped at Starbucks. And had been, you know, spotted as they were getting out of there because, you know, it took a little while longer, but then they saw their car parked outside of a Starbucks afterwards on the way out. And that's, like, kind of my consistent fear of, like, the go get help, and you watch the other person run off to go get help, and then they just don't come back. That'd be scary shit. I'm not actually, like, I bet most of the time you never have to worry about that. But it is always kind of worrying to think of, like, you tell somebody to go call 911 and they could just say bye. And then you're doubly far back, 'cause, yeah, it could be like the one guy that just doesn't call 911. Other people don't want to get involved in crap they're not interested in. Yeah, but when you accept the responsibility of going to do something, you say, yeah, I'm gonna go get help. You go get help. Like, you don't just say, well, bye, after you've kind of agreed to that thing, because that no amount of like I don't want to deal with it can justify that kind of behavior. That's just straight up evil. And nothing. Well, I guess I'll grab the Bratton Prime receiver, which actually might finish off my Bratton Prime. And let's get out of here after this. Second grade, I helped my buddy get to the nurse's office when he twisted his ankle after jumping off the swing, and all the teacher did was give you 5 dragon bites, school company, currency, and said, good boy. That's just insulting. Geez. Didn't have to deal with it that often. Usually the teachers were on point. Oh no, there was one situation. I've told this story before, and I think the story changes a little bit every time I tell it because, you know, it was like 10 years ago, but effectively to the point of like, had a where's the exit? Where am I even going? There's too many icons on the screen. It's hard to keep up with. Oh, some cord. That's it for that. That'll be easy, immediate goal. And is it? Yeah, it's still up there. Cool. In senior year of high school, I was in gym class, and one of our classmates showed up so unbelievably drunk that she was barely conscious. And effectively, in the middle of the gym final, which is as silly as that sounds, it was basically just a couple of fitness tests and to see if you could, you know, fire a bow and whatnot, because we had done a bunch of archery that year. Whirlwind. Oh, no, I already have that one. But so the girl was effectively so unbelievably drunk and like out of sorts that she just starts throwing up, and like her eyes are rolled back and whatever, and like it's pretty much crazy alcohol poisoning at this point. And you know, effectively I was the one to go get help because somebody else was already making sure that she wasn't going to just choke on her own vomit. I remember running through the halls, vice principal just stopping me to yell at me for sprinting through the halls, and me being so just confused. Because I even told him, like, there's a girl, like, you know, passed out in gym class throwing up and, you know, possibly seizing or whatever. I don't know. And him just being completely disinterested in what I had to say. And I was like, whoa, you're not a good person. He was never a good person. I think once it got through, I think he did actually go back, because when I was bringing the wheelchair to bring her back, he was carrying her from the gym. You're probably not supposed to move people, though. Honestly, what we should have done was just call 911 from the very beginning. Okay, Mataro, do you wanna toss me that spear prime pouch? That was probably a good time for it. I guess I might as well leave the squad so I don't drag you guys with. There's actually another situation. I had a friend who had allergies, and we had 2 nurses. We had the good nurse, who was actually really helpful, and we had the really bad nurse. This is the nurse that, like, I want to say didn't, like, believe in medicine to some degree, because my friend who had really bad allergies was having an allergic reaction, and it wasn't one of those where, like, they couldn't breathe anymore, but they broke out in hives, and they did have some trouble breathing. Because if you tried talking to them, it would be more of a "Hi, Wander," as opposed to a, like, "Hi, Wander." So you pretty much knew, yeah, okay, this guy is having an allergic reaction. And, like, you don't want, thank you. I mean, obviously, we just wasted about 2 hours, I want to say, trying to get the spear prime pouch. So this will save me a lot of grinding. But yeah, so one day he was having an allergic reaction. I think he was allergic to peanut butter, and he would, like, break into hives if somebody was near him eating peanut butter, and so somebody had mistakenly brought a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And so I took my friend to the nurse, and the nurse sat there when we're like, "Hi, you know, he's having an allergic reaction," and her response was, well, what do you want me to do about it? And I was just like, holy shit, you are a bad nurse, and I'm glad I'm leaving. I didn't even have words. I was just shocked. I think it took her a little bit to realize, like, oh, yeah, EpiPen, duh. Or some other kind of antihistamine. But there was that short moment of just being like, oh, you are probably not a good person. Okay, let's see. So the other thing I want to do, let's see how many ducats I have. Let's see what I can buy. Because realistically, if I don't get everything from Barraketeer this year, I'm kind of fine with that. We've got enough, I've got enough other weapons that I care about using. Prismagricotta, maybe. I've got other guns though. I got like the Soma and whatnot, so it's like eh. Epinephrine. Yeah, well that's what an EpiPen is. But yeah, she was the teacher that, oh jeez, what was it? I was really sick one year. Or she was the nurse. No, I was really sick one year. I don't remember. Oh no. I get really bad migraines, and I don't think I ever. I've never gotten like diagnosed for them or anything like that. And they're honestly kind of few and far between. So generally, they're not like that big of a deal for me. But there's still something that I should probably maybe kind of ask a doctor about someday. So I want to hold on to the Helios Prime stuff. Want the Bratton, don't need the Lexes. But so, she was the nurse when I had such a bad migraine I couldn't stand upright. If I remember right, my like sense of balance was gone and I couldn't quite see straight. It was strange and unfortunate. I'm only going to be able to get one thing from this. I guess we could actually do... yeah, we could actually do a little bit more ducat farming if people are up for it. But I pretty much couldn't stand straight or whatever. And so I was just like, you know, any idea what's wrong with me? And she was like, nope, you should lie down for a while. So like after about an hour of me just lying down on the nurse bed in the back, I was like... she kind of came by and was like, you should go back to class now. And I'm like... alright, if you think so. I get up and immediately just face plant on the floor, and she's like, so, are you going? And I'm like, I'm sorry, what? Okay, so what should I get? Prismagricotta or Prisma Obex? I should probably get the Prisma Obex first. Because that's probably more fun. Obex is more fun. Yeah, because I've already got the Soma. Let's grab the Prisma Obex. I kind of like melee weapons like this anyway. Okay, so question is, can I get 500 more ducats in an hour? That seems reasonable. Because I don't think I care about the Prismascana. I don't even know if I care about the Prismagricotta, to be totally honest. But I don't mind playing Warframe for, like, a little while longer, because it might be the only time I get to play it this week. Actually, where do I get the last piece of the Burst on? Because I need the Burst on and the... Ooh, Ankyros... Oh, geez, I'm almost out of Orkin cells? That's a new one. What do I need for Ankyros? I probably don't have anything for it. Because I think this was vaulted to begin with, yeah, so that's a no good. I'll just buy the parts. Okay, so... Oh, shoot, I should probably figure out what burst on part I need. Let's see, Prisma weapons are good, mastery fodder. You're right. I just don't care that much. Like, now that I've got every weapon unlocked, mastery is just kind of a fun thing to work on. Okay, Neo V5. Okay, so which ones of these? I guess I have enough. So we can do 2 Neos and 2 Axes, and that should actually work for me, and I'll get the Burst on Prime bits. And who knows, might just give me the... some other just ducat trash. Okay, that's that. Did I say something wrong? I don't know. Anyway, let's see. Any of you guys? I assume you guys are still up for going a little bit longer. Let me know if not, because I can always okay, send that invite. I can always you know, well, you can always head to bed whenever you want. I'm just kind of chilling tonight. Because the only other thing I'm gonna do tonight is grind in Lost Spheres so we can kick ass in it. Okay. What point I start asking for payment? Yeah, Matarial, if you want payment, absolutely just ask. Like, usually I just assume people are being nice, but if you want plat, I can give plat. It's not actually that big of a deal. Let's see. What color am I using that makes the nice gold color? But yeah, Matarial, for all this stuff that you have 3 burst on sets. Well, let's try and make it through what I've got first. Because I got a couple of relics, and who knows, might actually help me, we might actually get it. Or we might not. I don't know, my luck's been kind of shit tonight. Right, I was looking at appearance. So the gold color, very specifically, I think it's my accents? Yeah, if we're talking the gold on the metal, it is this gold. Or this orange, really. There's some good ones on the fire set as well. Pretty much kind of anything in the orange-gold range works really, really well. But I'm more of a specific fan of just the saturated set. It's pretty much the only color set I actually use. The only problem is it has shitty purples, but if you got the Twitch set, it's not so bad. Anyway, so I need Neo and I need Axie. Well, we've got Capture on Axie, so that should be easy peasy. Let's see if we're doing that. I might as well go back to Ember. But yeah, in general, I would prefer to purchase from fans anyway. So yeah, if you want to just give me a fair price instead of just giving it to me, I do not mind. I will never see it as particularly greedy. In fact, I'm the greedy one. I've received more from you specifically than most other people, so if you want me to just, like, pay you a lump sum of platinum for all your help at some point, would not mind. Obviously, I don't want everybody coming for me for, like, platinum. It's like, Wander, I've got a thing that you don't have. Pay me platinum. And it's like, no. I'm not Mr. Moneybags here. But I will definitely pay for convenience if I need something, and it's very clearly the troll engine is not cooperating with me. Because that does happen, not uncommonly. Troll engine in this game is unkind. Oh, I think I spooked him. There is no sound effect for capturing a person in this game, and that's really weird. I wish there was just like a slight sound effect to it, like a whoosh, or I know they used to. Oh, it's because they scream, but I have the scream turned off. That's what's going on. Because, yeah, they like yell and scream and they're like, no, don't take me, or whatever. I remember. Oh, Zanuka. I haven't had a Zanuka hunter in ages. Detron barrel. Cool. I should probably actually do some of the, I should really do some of the invasions at some point, to get, like, the full sets of, like, Detrons. I really want to get, Twin Viper Wraiths again. I foolishly got rid of them thinking they were a dumb weapon. And now I'm like, now that I'm, like, fully kitted out in this game, They are a dumb weapon, and that's why I want them. I do have a regular Viper Wraith. But I should never have gotten rid of my twin. Oh well, it's not the end of the world. Speaking of, or not speaking of, this is a completely unrelated thing. I guess it's only related because it's, because I saw it on the list when I was looking at, things to use my key on. But I was, when I was listening to TennoCon, I finally, heard them pronounce Vauban. It's not Vauban, it's, I mean, obviously it's not Boobin. It's never been Boobin, but that's funny. But it's Vauban. Which is a fine pronunciation, but I was just kind of surprised that that was it. And Oberon Prime it is. Well, that's 20% of what I need. What? Not Boobin? Yeah, no, it's Vauban. Should be Boobin, though. Oh. I think that's actually the only, I think that's the only frame that I couldn't pronounce beforehand, but I think that's also because it's one of the unique, I think that's one of the only unique-ish Warframe names, now that I'm thinking about it. Okay, where's my other Radiant Relic? There we go. First on Prime Barrel. Vabon. Yeah, that's... I don't know. What other frames do we have? Nidus, that's fine. Necros, Loki, Avara? Avara might be a unique name. I don't know. I could be wrong about that. Saren might be one. But Saren is easy enough to pronounce anyway. Not that it actually, like, is that important. I just...